What's going on, boys? We got a trade recap today for Wednesday, April 22nd. I personally got break even here, trying to short. So we'll go over my bias, what I was looking for. I know some people did try to long this, and we'll also go over why this delivery was so sloppy this morning. I was looking to potentially go long as well. Um, there was a lot of different factors here. Ended up taking a short, got break even at these internal lows. We'll go over why this short wasn't the absolute best, um, but why I did still end up taking it. So as always, pulling up the bias coming into the market open. This is what I put out in the Discord. I think we at least sweep the equal highs at all-time highs off of market open. If it's a clean sweep, then we can potentially target this 1 hour sell side lower. Obviously, if we're going to short, the highest probability shorts would be down here to this 4 hour sell side if there's like obvious displacement, but they were super far away, so that was low probability. The other option, I said we could long if we end up going into price discovery with good volume and then get a pullback to a 5-15 minute gap and then could kind of scalp along from there. So the market opens right here and we immediately displace down off market open. So originally I wanted us to just kind of come up and sweep all-time highs and then get this displacement down. But we ended up failing higher, got this displacement down. And what I was looking for in this scenario was for this 5-minute candle to close below this set of internal lows. That would have given me confidence and been like, okay, like this is all low resistance liquidity. If we're gonna close below and displace through this internal low, essentially the market structure shift on the 5-minute time frame, that would give me confidence to then be like, hey, this sell side is pretty confirmed to me. I'm good to enter wherever I can get a safe stop loss. But we ended up coming down and wicking it out, and this is why it's important to wait. We came down, swept it out. We did open up a 5-minute gap, and so at this point in time, it's like, okay, we've come down, swept internal lows, but we did open up this 5-minute gap. So I would really technically need to see this 5-minute gap, in my opinion, get ran through and disrespected and have good volume through it in order to potentially target all-time highs. So I was looking to potentially maybe go long here if we just got a clean flip through it after sweeping the lows, but none of these candles convinced me that we were actually going to durably go higher. Also, knowing that we were within the 5-minute gap, knowing how bearish this original 5-minute candle was off market open. And so at this point in time, before we get this deep retrace, I'm like, okay, if we kind of like, we had this 1-minute gap here, if we kind of just come up here and then close below this new internal low with good displacement, I would still be willing to go short. I just want to see confirmation below these internal lows here. And then I could, if the RR is good, I can enter right off that close, or I can place a limit order a little bit higher and get a little bit of a better fill if we close down here, come up a little bit, get filled, and then go lower. That obviously didn't happen. We got this bigger retracement move higher, but then we failed and we displaced lower, and I really liked the volume of this candle here in live time, especially after this rejection wick. It came up and closed a little bit high when the candle closed. I'm like, okay, if we come back down to where that wick was, I'll enter. That's exactly what I did. So essentially entered right here, knowing that I wanted to be very safe and go break even very quickly because we have yet to close below these internal lows. But in my mind, what I'm thinking is, okay, if we really wanted to go take all-time highs right this second, we would have done so either A, right off market open here, B, off of this flip here. Instead, we hold this 5-minute, we displace lower. That tells me we're at least going to come down and take these internal lows again. But I also still liked the potential shorts here to this 1 hour low. And this is also pretty much London lows as well. And it made a lot of sense. And The reason I was fading the all-time high trade originally off market open is because, once again, if you watched yesterday's recap, this is an high resistance liquidity. This is an area of high resistance. We've swept out all-time highs, came down, swept out all-time highs again, rejected lower. This was pre-market. Then we came up yesterday, failed to take all-time highs after this rejection wick. So we failed essentially 3 times to push through it. We also have SMT here with an SMT at the highs with ES. And then pre-market today, we come up to this exact same area in price and fail to take it again. Then off market open, like I already said, we're starting to make our way back up here. We wick it out again and reject lower. So we failed multiple times to take this liquidity and to move past this area in price. Now, obviously, we have done so right now, but this is why the delivery was so sloppy, right? This is why this initial move failed. This is why we stalled out here for the first 30 minutes of market open before actually going and actually being able to go take that liquidity. We've already failed to take it 3, 4, 5 times. So it's high resistance in my opinion. That's why I was fading it here. And that's why I went short here. Went break even at the internal low. Pretty much instantly got stopped out at break even after this internal low was rejected. And it's just a good trade of a good job of mitigating risk and having good risk management. That's why we go break even at the internal lows, because if price truly wanted to go lower here, we would flush through this, right? If price truly wants to go lower here, we flush through the internal low and then we go take the sell side. If we're gonna wick it out and reject it, don't want to be in that trade anymore, because price should flush through it if it truly wants lower. It didn't want lower. We're in all-time high conditions. I still realize that, even though I know this is high resistance liquidity, we're still at all-time highs. So if you're gonna short all-time highs, you gotta be super safe about it. So went break even here, and that was the break even trade. You can see I'm down a whopping $2.94 on the day. So then we end up actually going to go take all-time highs, but like after this, bro, just zooming out after getting stopped at a break even, I'm like, okay, we're in this range. We failed lower. We failed higher off market open. Then we failed lower twice. And if we're gonna fail higher and lower on the same in the first 30 minutes of market open when the volatility is the greatest, then I don't want to be in the market anymore. So took that break even, locked myself out. The only other potential trade you could have taken was like once we displace higher here, you then kind of maybe limit order for a 1-to-1 to all-time highs here, coming down into these 1-minute gaps. But at the same time, in live time, I'm thinking like, yeah, you could do that. I personally wouldn't even want to do that at this point, because we filled higher already. We filled lower. This is high resistance liquidity. We then come up and edge the all-time highs again, and then get this sharp pullback. Like, that's not something I would even want to be taking in the first place. I would even want to be taking after that happens, because of the conditions. So those are my thoughts. That's a trade that I took, and those are my thoughts on why it was such a chopped delivery this morning, because it is high resistance liquidity. Also, coming into the day, it's one of those days where the bias isn't incredibly clear, right? It took me a second to kind of formulate the bias. And on these mornings, when it takes a second to formulate the bias, it's not like incredibly clear as soon as you open the charts. Probably a good sign we're probably maybe going to chop around a little bit and the delivery isn't going to be as smooth. Because we did have this wick that came up to all-time highs, rejected lower, pre-market, right? So that was the trade I took, and that's why I thought the delivery to all-time highs was sloppy. Then we come up, after we take it, there's really nothing here. And that's why I said, like, if we pump into price discovery off the rip, off market open, then we can potentially look for a pullback to like a 5, maybe a 15-minute gap if the volume is still there, and look for a retrace to enter here and to go back into all-time highs, into price discovery. But that kind of trade has to happen within the first 30, 45 minutes of market open while there's still good volume. After we've chopped around here and then we get to the movement to all-time highs, you can see how low volume we are right now. And if you're trying to scalp along here, most likely isn't going to work because the volume has already died. The volume just isn't there anymore. You can see that with these 5-minute candles. So that's why, like, in all-time high conditions, yes, you can do that. Yes, you can scalp higher into price discovery on a pullback, on a deep retrace to either a fat 1-minute gap or a 5-minute, a 15-minute. You can do that. You just have to make sure the volume is still there, because if there's a low volume, I don't really want to touch it, being at all-time highs in price discovery. So that kind of trade to me, which we might potentially be set up for on Thursday, Friday, later this week, if we're in price discovery, that kind of trade has to happen early on into market open, and I have to be convinced that the volume is still there. So that's just a little bit of my thoughts about being in price discovery as well. So that's a trade recap. I'm not going to make this any longer than it has to be. But once again, realizing that this was an area of high resistance liquidity, that's why I took a stab short, and that's why the delivery was so sloppy. And once again, that's why the trade from yesterday failed. I went over that yesterday as well. That's why the longs didn't end up playing out here. Even though it looked good, we failed lower. So I'm still waiting to see if we're ever going to get a retrace. Still have yet to come down and retrace into a daily fair value gap, although we have like 8 of them right here on this leg up. So we'll see what happens. Still down 1R on the week. Lost Monday, 2 break-even trades on Tuesday, Wednesday. It could be easy to be emotional. It could have been so easy for me to be emotional and try to hold this short, trying to just make back the loss that I have on the week. You can't let that take over. You just gotta. That's why I kind of blocked out the balance for right now, because I know that I'm starting to risk heavier. I risked heavier, took a loss, and I just want to solely focus on the executions. If you solely focus on the executions, you don't let your emotions get the best of you, you're able to have good trade management, and then it saves you. So 2 good break-even trades yesterday and today, in my opinion. And that just is what it is. So we'll see if there's more opportunity for us on Thursday, Friday to end the week. And yeah, that's the market recap. Let me know if you took a trade or not. And if you did, if you took a loss, it's unfortunate. If you took a loss trying to long here, it's unfortunate, but it happens. And I'm giving you my honest thoughts of why I think longs failed initially off market open, just realizing that it is high resistance liquidity. So yeah, that's the trade recap. I appreciate you watching. Code FST on all your favorite prop firms. Apex, Lucid, Alpha Futures. I'm missing one. Tradeify. Code FST. All the links are in the description below. Free Discord is the first link in the description below as well. Post my daily bias coming into every single market open, and it's completely free. So that's all I got. Appreciate you watching, and I'll see y'all tomorrow in the market recap. All right, peace.